welcome to LatinaCon. We are very happy to have you here. This is the second edition that we have had in 2021, and we are really very happy to have you. My name is Hilda Gurdian, and I am the publisher of La Noticia. And of course, I represent the entire team of La Noticia today. I'd like to make two announcements. One is that we are going to be recording this meeting, this event from its entirety. And that we are pleased to do that, because that way, not only we will enjoy the event this evening, but we will continue to enjoy it throughout posterity, because we will post it in YouTube and on our Facebook page so that we can continue to enjoy LatinaCon. And also, another announcement that I need to make at this time is that we are going to have the entire meeting in English, but we are offering interpretation in Spanish. So if you want to listen to all the conversation in Spanish, all you need to do is to go to the bottom of your screen, and there you will see a globe, like the world globe, and you will see the word interpretation. Just click in there and select Spanish. Lo voy a decir ahora en español. Este programa lo vamos a hacer completamente en inglés, pero lo vamos a dar interpretación al español. Si usted desea escuchar todo el evento en español, es muy sencillo. Solamente tiene que bajar a la parte de abajo de su pantalla y buscar donde dice Interpretation. Es un globito, como el globito del mundo. Allí solamente toque allí y escoja el idioma español. Y así va a escuchar todo el programa en español, aun cuando todo va a ser en inglés. Pueden probar ahora, y si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor colocarla en el chat, y Fernando o algún miembro del equipo de La Noticia le va a contestar la pregunta. Well, we are all set. I just explained to the audience about the interpretation, so hopefully everyone will be happy with that. If you want to listen to the event in English, you can, and if you want to listen to it in Spanish, you can as well, because we have that interpretation service. Now, why do we do LatinaCon? We do it because we want to give you knowledge. We want to give you information that is valuable, that you are going to use to empower yourself and be successful tomorrow more than you are today. And then we do this, we're doing LatinaCon for more than 7 years. And when we do it in person, as most of you know, it's an all-day event. We have many seminars and a lot of opportunities to do networking. But now, because of the coronavirus pandemic, from last year, we started doing it virtually. And this is the second year we do that. And this year, we are going to do 3 LatinaCons. One that many of you enjoyed in June 10th, this one today, and we have another one coming up on the first Thursday in August. And you are very welcome to attend all of those and learn. This is about learning. We give you all of this information for learning. And we have worked very hard to put this program together. And we hope that you will enjoy it very much. And we hope that you will learn so much, and that you will adapt some of the practices that you will learn tonight in your life, even tomorrow, right away. As soon as you learn them, just put them into practice in your life, and you will see that they will make a difference. Let me tell you a little bit about the program that we are going to have tonight. We're going to talk about health and wellness, the balancing act, and Elaine Jones is going to be in charge of talking to us about that. Elaine is a nutritionist and dietitian with St. George Heart and Vascular Institute, Atrium Health. And we're very happy to have Elaine with us tonight. And I know that you are going to have fun with the information that she is going to share with us. And right after Elaine Jones, we are going to hear from Kathleen Evans. Kathleen is the Regional Director of External Affairs at AT&T, and she is going to talk to us about building an equitable digital future. And then soon after that, we are going to hear from Diana Pagano. She is an inspirational speaker, she's an author, and she's the founder of Make Things Happen movement. And the name of her presentation is How to Shift Your Mindset to Skyrocket Your Results. We're going to hear a lot of principles to make us successful in leadership and motivation. So that's going to be our program. We are going to, all the questions can be written in the chat. As soon as you have the question that comes to your mind when you're listening to one of our speakers, go ahead and write it in the chat. We will not be able to answer that question right away and then, but we will when the Q&A session comes up. And each of our seminars will have a Q&A session. So please feel free to write down your question in the chat as soon as it comes to your mind. Of course, during the Q&A session, you can also unmute yourself and ask that question directly if you prefer. So either way is perfectly fine. Now, this is the opportunity that we have to say thank you, to show gratitude to our sponsors. These are wonderful companies in our community who deserve this recognition for supporting La Noticia, LatinaCon, and the Latino community. Their financial support is what gives us this opportunity to bring this wonderful seminar so that you can learn and be stronger. So let's say thank you to our sponsors, Atrium Health, Novan Health, Bank of America, Food Lion, Central Piedmont Community College, BB&T SunTrust, now Truist, FirstNet built with AT&T, and the Latin-American Chamber of Commerce of Charlotte. Thank you very much to all of these corporate citizens for supporting LatinaCon. LatinaCon is organized by La Noticia. Let me tell you a little bit about La Noticia. La Noticia is an independent news organization in Spanish. We have been serving the Latino community in North Carolina for the last 24 years. And we have a lot of audience. Our audience is online. We have more than 2 million page views a month. We have 4 newspapers, and we have about more than 300,000 readers in the newspapers. And we also distribute our, besides lanoticia.com, which is the way we distribute La Noticia, our news and information online, we also, in the newspapers, we also distribute our news and information through our social media channels. That we have many, I think you can see in the next slide how many social media channels we have. This is a little bit about us, about La Noticia, and very proud to organize LatinaCon for you. Let me tell you a little bit about our scholarships. Proceeds from the LatinaCon and the Excelente Awards, which is another big event that we in La Noticia put together for you. Those proceeds go to the Latino Scholarship Fund, and we give a scholarship to Latino students to go to college. These are wonderful students with the grades and the desire to go to college, but without the financial means to do so. And we are blessed to have this opportunity to help them get a college education. Of course, some of the proceeds also go to support the high quality journalism that we produce here at La Noticia, and that you are able to enjoy every day, 24/7 in lanoticia.com, our newspapers, and our social media channels. Let me, at this point in time, recognize members of the La Noticia team who are with us today. These are wonderful professionals. They do a great job, and they're very passionate about journalism, and that we are very grateful for your support. Thank you for working so hard every day to help our Latino community be informed. Well, if you want to share photographs of LatinaCon, you can do it with the hashtag. It's hashtag LatinaCon21, and that will be nice so that you can share with your friends and family members. Now, I'd like to talk to you about a video that we are going to show you. This is a story. The video comes from Central Piedmont Community College. They are one of our sponsors, and the story on the video is about Natasha. Natasha is a Central Piedmont student who is receiving a scholarship, and the video is about a scholarship. But let me not say any more about the scholarship program that Central Piedmont Community College is offering, and let's watch the video now.
Wakey, wakey. Okay, why are you playing? Come on, brush them. And stop whining about brushing your teeth. After my daughter was born, I realized I wasn't happy with the career path that had grown. What's your special today?
I think music.
I was an average student in high school.
All right, let's go.
Unless I got a really big scholarship, I knew I wasn't going to go to university. To be able to go to college now at Central Piedmont means finding that career that I enjoy. I love doing all these artsy things, and now look, I can do it for a company, and that's just a light bulb clicked. It's finding that job that I want to wake up to and that career that makes me happy. Central Piedmont has opened many doors. I've been given opportunities like this Ruth G. Shaw Scholarship. It takes off a lot of pressure. Financially, it takes off some responsibility, so I didn't have to pick up extra shifts. I had more time to study and get through my classes quicker.
What are you doing?
That extra shift would have taken away a Friday night or a Wednesday afternoon or something like that, and it means everything. I'm Natasha. I'm a full-time mom, student, and anything that I dream of is possible.
Get the education you deserve. A scholarship from Central Piedmont can help you conquer possibility.
If you want to take advantage of this opportunity, it's something that you want to take a degree or a program at Central Piedmont Community College, this is your opportunity, and you can apply to one of these scholarships. And if it's not for you, no worries. Maybe a member, a family member, or a friend. Just let them know that Central Piedmont Community College is offering a scholarship so that they can get a great education, a college education with a scholarship. Now, Fernando just put the link in the chat, cpcc.edu/4. Please copy it so that you can check it out later and see more about this wonderful program. And we'd like to say thank you to Central Piedmont for supporting the education of our community. Now the time has come to start our first workshop for tonight. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here we have the beautiful picture of Elaine Jones. She's a nutritionist and dietitian, like I already said, with the St. George Heart Vascular Institute at Etrian Health, and she's going to talk to us about health and wellness, the balancing act. So go ahead, Elaine.
Thank you for having me today. I just wanted to be able to take this opportunity, Hilda and team, for inviting me along this journey and being able to share my knowledge with everyone participating tonight and trying to make small changes reasonable, and maybe identify some information that perhaps you didn't have before that can help you balance out your own life, your schedule, and the foods that you're choosing, and how to make sure that you are meeting your own personal needs and being the best that you can. So this first slide really gives an example of what we are all trying to balance day in, day out. So this image really, I think, captures beautifully what we're all juggling, male, female, and more and more at an early age with the way life has changed. Anyway, what we're trying to do is to just provide some information. If you're juggling work, you're juggling finances, you're juggling how to cook, going to the store, taking kids to after school programs, to sports, to events, to music, trying to take care of yourself, take care of your home can be just an audacious task to have to undertake. So with a few points of interest, I'm hoping that you will find a way to be more at peace with the load that you carry every day. So one of the things I would like to ask everybody is just to reflect on these pictures, whether you are reading labels at a store, whether you're comfortable with reading labels to get the nutrition information, whether you get paralyzed in a grocery store trying to figure out what the right choice is, whether you're getting your information in magazines or books or the newspaper, perhaps you're getting your information online. Perhaps you're getting your information from TV shows. There are a lot of individuals out there that try to do their best at providing reasonable and healthy tips, but you need to be careful and use some caution when taking 100% of what you're getting out there posted publicly to heart and take it as 100% truth. Um, Maybe you are one of those shoppers at your local farmers market. You know that buying local helps support the economy. You know that the fresh fruits and vegetables that are available at the markets are the closest to you going out and picking them yourself. They have the best nutritional value to them. So we're going to go forward and I'm going to try to teach you a little bit about how to make better food choices. So what you have here is a nutrition label. One of the things over the years that has changed the most is the positioning of all of this information and what is included and what is not included in what order. I try to get people to really not even look at the percentages, which you see down the right column of the ingredient label. I really would rather you look at, first of all, what is the serving size of this particular item. It doesn't say what the food item is, but let's just pretend, for example, it's 2/3 of a cup of ice cream. Then they're saying that for 2/3 of a cup of ice cream, you're going to get 230 calories. And then if I look further down, I'm seeing where the fat, the cholesterol, and the sodium and the carbohydrates are listed. The reason this section is in red is because often if we have some form of a chronic disease, some cardiovascular heart issue, perhaps diabetes, um, maybe kidney disease, these are some elements that come in all foods that you maybe need to pay closer attention to. So I'm wanting you to identify where it comes in the nutrition label and be able to identify, for example, if you're on a low sodium diet, you see the shaker over to the right. That means all of your food choices need to be 140 milligrams. That's what the mg stands for, is milligrams. 140 milligrams or less per serving. So if I take that information and I go back to my nutrition label, I see that this 2/3 of a cup portion of food has 160 milligrams per serving. So according to my low sodium guidelines, this item would not fit. Um, Also, you can look at the blue section, which suggests that you need to make sure that you are getting enough vitamin D and calcium and zinc and iron during the day. They all are important. And one of the things to remember is that you're not looking for one item to fix all of this, to meet 100% of all of those needs. It's not going to happen. So variety is going to be the key. So in case some of you may be unfamiliar with exactly what foods are carbohydrates, what foods are proteins, what foods count as fat. I just wanted to make sure that I gave a couple of examples in each category so that you could then associate your food choices with these different, what we call macronutrients. These are the three basics. So for carbohydrates, cereal is going to give you carbohydrates. The thing about carbohydrates is they are our body's first source of fuel. Every place in your body can store this fuel. Carbohydrates break down into sugar, which is not a bad thing. Again, we use it as energy. Every cell in our body uses it for energy. But our brain does not have the ability to store this sugar. So we need to make sure that we are getting carbohydrates in our body over the course of the day so that our body can function appropriately and our cells can have all of the energy they need to function correctly and to do their job. Bread is another example, potatoes, we've got peas, fruits, pasta, rice. These are just some examples, okay? Then if we're looking at protein, the thing about protein is protein builds muscle. It helps us stay full longer during a meal. And when you pair protein with a carbohydrate, especially if you're diabetic, for example, the beauty between those two is that the protein actually helps to delay and make the digestive process a little more complicated. So your body breaking down the carbohydrates into sugar would actually be a little slower if for your meal you're putting a source of protein in with that meal. Some examples are your milk and dairy products. Meats, you see there all meats are included, your pork, your lamb, your beef, your fish. Um, Nuts are also a fabulous form of protein. Many people use them in place of meats when they are trying to be more plant-based in their food choices. The next picture is beans or legumes or pulses. They all come under those different names. The fats, olive oil, olives you see pictured there, those are healthy choices of fats. Not all fats are bad. Butter, there are better options than butter, but a little bit is not going to set you back and knock you off your diet or your healthy eating plan. I am all for moderation of things and finding that portions really make a difference. Again, nuts, even though they are a source of protein, have natural fats in them, and that's something to consider when you're consuming them. Again, it's about the portions and reading that label to see exactly how many nuts equal a recommended portion. And then avocados, another great source of fats and vitamins and minerals. So you might wonder how many fruits and vegetables you need during the day. In a perfect world, we would be all consuming 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables. I realize and I recognize it's hard for me to even get in 5. So what I like to do is at least explain to you what counts as a single serving. So you see here my examples of a small fruit. We often compare it to the size of a baseball. A cup of raw vegetables, that's 1 serving of vegetables, or a half of a cup cooked, that's a serving as well. Half of a cup of a canned fruit option, that would be a serving as well. I try to get individuals to not drink fruit juices and count them as a fruit serving. I rather you get all the vitamins and minerals and the fiber from the whole food form, even if you're cooking it, than drinking it. I like to call juices kind of pre-digested sugar. The factories have already done all the job of breaking everything down so that all of a sudden that consumption of the apple juice or the orange juice or cranberry juice takes nothing to digest and will impact your blood sugar levels. And you're just getting so much more benefit from the whole food source. So just consider that. When it comes to the benefits, I've listed that vitamins and minerals are important that you're getting from them. Our body actually does not have the ability to make all of the vitamins and minerals that our organs and our cells require on a day-to-day basis. And that's why it's important to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, because that's where we get those additional vitamins and minerals that are essential to our body functions. Fiber comes in insoluble and soluble form. All that means is that one doesn't hold on to water, one does. The one that does actually has the ability to cling on to cholesterol as well, and fats, and other what we call toxins or byproducts from the digestive process of your foods. And so when you are including fiber in your diet, for women, the goal is 25 milligrams. For men, it's 35 milligrams of fiber. So just something to consider. Maybe you take a day and you start taking note of exactly how much fiber you're getting in, just to see kind of where you stand. But it's a great tool for keeping you full for longer, because that's what fiber does, and also for getting things like blood cholesterol down. I do try to encourage everybody to eat through the rainbow. One of the most fun things I do when I'm teaching kids is to make sure that they're not confusing this at all with the Skittles commercial where they say, taste the rainbow. I do want you to taste it, but I want you to taste it for what the fruit and the vegetable is, okay? So this is something that you could print off, for example, and post on your refrigerator or your freezer with a magnet. And then maybe you take a marker and you see exactly how successful you are during the week of at least getting one fruit and vegetable in representing each one of these color categories. Okay, that is my challenge to you. In case you're wondering what varieties of fruits and vegetables could go into this, I've given you a few examples here. So in the white category, for example, you've got mushrooms, you've got potatoes, there's onion, there are turnips, and parsnips could be there in the white category as well. In purple, you've got purple carrots, purple cabbage or red cabbage, and purple or red onions as an example. Blue is a little tricky, but you've got blueberries. They're in season still right now and great with antioxidants, which help fight inflammation in our body. There are blue potatoes and there are blackberries, which have blue in them. Green, you've got zucchini, green apples, broccoli. The list goes on in the green category. You should never have a problem with finding something green in the grocery store. Yellow, you've got yellow squash, bell peppers, and the one in the bottom is actually called a golden beet. They are delicious. And for those of you who've never tried beets before, I would recommend you taste one of those. They're fabulous roasted, and they're actually sweeter to me than the red variety of beets are. In the orange, you've got carrots, again, another variety of bell pepper color, and oranges, again, just some examples. And in red, strawberries, apples, watermelon, raspberries are another one, okay? So one of the things I think on a day-to-day basis that most people are really not great about, unless you're exercising regularly and you sense thirst, is taking care of your water consumption. I wanted to make sure that I included a reason as to why water really matters. If you see there the list of how it transfers heat and eliminates waste, I also wanted you to understand exactly how impactful water is to just the makeup of your different organs in your body, knowing that your brain and heart are composed 73% of water, lungs 83, your skin contains 64% of water. That again is how you're transferring heat and regulating your body temperature. Muscles and kidneys. If you're actually not drinking enough water and restricting your water too much, the problem is with your kidneys is they get angry, and then byproducts from your blood can actually build up in your blood and cause your kidneys to not work at 100%. And I'm just wanting to provide you information to how to make your body work at 100%, at its best, to be your best. Muscles, if you do exercise, for those of you that don't hydrate enough, actually what happens is almost like when you have a dried piece of rope, if you will. If there's not enough water in your muscles, that's where you get muscle injuries and where you tear and strain the muscle fibers. So again, it's important to drink enough water. Typically, the old adage is 8-ounce portions of water a day. That's a great place to start from. Also knowing that it helps with the joints, with your blood volume, and like I said again, regulating temperature. So let's talk for a minute about what portions look like. We use this called the My Plate. Many of you may have seen it before through government websites, or your children may have brought this home in education about health and wellness. And again, you see color variety. Balancing your plate means half of that plate should be non-starchy vegetables. That's what the green represents there. So peas and corn don't count in that section. They would actually count in the grain section, just as an example. But for all intents and purposes, make sure that half of your plate is fruits and vegetables, and that only a quarter of your plate is the grain, and a quarter of your plate is the protein. If you open your hand, actually the correct portion of protein is about the size of the inside of your palm. We also compare it to the size of a deck of cards. That's about a 3-ounce portion of protein. So you always have your reference carried around with you. So when you go out to restaurants and they give you a whole platter of rice or pasta as the base, you can remember that according to this, that's too much. That's what I would call an excessive amount or over amount of that grain item, okay? Now, what's happened over the years? You can see here, I tried to capture where commercial food has gone and trends have gone. 20 years ago, a regular cheeseburger would give you about 333 calories, but today it averages around 590, okay? So I know prices have gone up, but with the price hikes, so has the volume of the food, and therefore so has the amount of calories. If you look at, let's just skip to a muffin, for example, and you've got a 210 calorie blueberry muffin there, but today most of them are more like almost softball size as opposed to a baseball size or smaller. Popcorn's the same. If you look at the bottom left, you'll see the calories from pasta again, because a lot of the times we start to expect more for the money that we're paying. All of this convenience and all of this increase in calories has really led us down to really a habit that is called obesogenics. Obesogenics means habits and traits of our behaviors and our social settings that lead us to unhealthy behaviors or lead us towards obesity. So we want things that are fast, we want things that are convenient, perhaps cheap, and maybe that's because of our budget. I'm not going down that road of whether or not you can afford healthier options. I'm saying as a general rule, individuals, human beings, especially in the United States, expect more convenience. They expect it to be closer, so we're not walking as much to things. We're driving everywhere. We want to be able to drive through. Those foods that we're choosing at these facilities are lower in nutritional value. They're filled with what we call a lot of empty calories, whether it's because of the sugar or the fat. And we have seen, as the example I just gave you, that they're also providing us with exaggerated portions. So in this process of convenience, I want you to think about where you're eating. Are you eating? Maybe you're eating right now while we're talking through this because it's dinner time. But during work, for example, are you eating at your desk? Are you eating in your car because you're running short on time? Again, it's all about balancing, and how are we balancing our life? The ideal situation is to be coming back to the table, to turn off the TV, to turn off the computer, and really focus on and appreciate the variety of colors in front of you on your plate, the loved ones you may have sitting around you, and engage in what we call mindful eating. Take time to chew slower. Some people, if you want to just try, actually change the fork from your dominant hand to your non-dominant hand and try eating a meal that way and see how much slower you actually eat your meal, and see if it helps you to also enjoy it. It may frustrate you because you're less coordinated, but see if you don't eat a little slower and enjoy more the flavor, the taste, the ambiance of having a meal together. Why this matters? Again, fast food is higher in calories, salt, and preservatives. Mindless eating tends to create overeating. How many of you in the front of the TV? I've done this myself, sitting at the couch instead of at the table. You're focused on what is on the screen in front of you and not necessarily how much you're consuming, how fast you're consuming it, and you're not appreciating it. And then perhaps 45 minutes after the meal, you realize you're hungry again, or you can't even remember if you ate. So take time to appreciate what you're eating and the time it took to prepare it. We do allow others to determine portion size when we're eating out. We expect more for the price, and then you're more likely to eat it all. If you want to make a fast change when you're eating out, when you know they've served you too much or that it's more than you should be eating, ask them to bring out a to-go box and immediately portion off the excess. And then you're left with what you're going to sit there and enjoy, and you've got leftovers, and you're still enjoying your meal. Mindful eating equates to balanced relationships with food. So why should you care about all this? Food actually is involved and can prevent heart disease and diabetes and obesity and kidney disease and cancer and strokes. Sanger Heart and Vascular Institute, we are focusing on screening for hypertension and preventing strokes, for example. Well, the food choices that you make can either help you heal from an event like a stroke or heal from hypertension or high blood pressure. It can help you lose weight with obesity. And so, what I try to also encourage individuals to do is to make healthy choices for you, to choose you when you were choosing your foods. And by that, you were choosing to help prevent chronic diseases and prevent the need for medication and hospitalization and extra doctor's visits. So, again, by choosing food as medicine, you can reverse or wipe out or prevent many of the associated issues dealing with these chronic diseases. Now, taking the first step, how about you evaluate your current situation? Take a moment to pause. How often do you eat fast food? How often are you actually preparing at home? Where do you eat your meals? Do you plan meals out for the week? Do you exercise? And do you take time for yourself? That's very, very important in balancing your life and balancing your stress level and balancing out your food choices and how you react to things is if you're taking some time for yourself. And that comes in all different forms. In choosing a place to start and knowing that life changes, little changes in life actually can equal success for you, I want you to think about some of these recommendations. What if you limited your fast food consumption to only 1 to 2 times per week? Is that something you could do? What if you were to cook at home for 5 days a week? What I like to do is I like to meal plan on Sunday, for example, or maybe I'll even make my list on Saturday if I'm going to go to the store on Sunday. I plan out the recipes that I'm going to be eating and fixing. I look at all the ingredients in there. I make my one list, knowing that I am going to be preparing. I'm planning ahead. I'm preparing those meals. And what I also try to do is see what I can start preparing on Sunday to alleviate some of my stress and time prep for meals in the evening. I'm a working mom. I understand the juggle, and I understand it would be really great if we had healthy, less expensive options more often for those of us that maybe don't have the time or even the skill or the confidence in the kitchen to be cooking as much. But the truth of the matter is, you can make it less expensive by cooking at home and by preparing on your own. And when you're doing this, I want you to be open minded to even getting children involved, because the more they are involved in this whole process of perhaps choosing their favorite recipe, maybe you can find a way to maybe make it healthier by exchanging some of the ingredients there. And when they're involved, they are more likely to actually try the food, even if it's a new food, because they develop pride and confidence and excitement in what they have helped to prepare for the family. And you all are more likely to engage in discussion about it if there are more people involved. Now, it may take you longer in the beginning, but just consider encouraging your children or your spouse to be more involved in the preparation. That, again, takes some pressure off of you if you are the main cook in the house. I'd encourage you all to turn off the TV and computer while you're eating. There is a time and place for all of that, but especially that stimulation and noise and volume doesn't allow you, again, to be mindful and focus on the foods that you've taken the time to prepare. And the mindless eating, that engagement with computers and visual stimulation takes away from healthier habits. Again, if you could plan out a 5-day menu for dinners, that will save you time in the long run. And then you will also know that you've spent a certain amount of money that week, and you need to go ahead and use the food that you have at home. So if you purchase for 5 days in a row, then you are more likely also to follow through with that plan to cook at home. What I like to do is there are decision ladders that we call them, just as these stones are stacked here in this image. It's real important to know that if you could just choose one thing to change or one thing to adjust and focus on that, whether it's trying to eat your way through the rainbow over the course of the week, whether it's trying to, even for 1 week, choose 1 week and say, I'm going to plan out 5 meals and I'm going to follow through with that. You're building your own confidence in being able to accomplish those goals. If your objective is to be drinking more water and hydrating, that's a goal that you can accomplish. Maybe you track it on your refrigerator, maybe you track it on an app on your phone. But each one of these little successes build up to confidence and an ability to achieve a goal. Do not ever choose a goal like, say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. That is one of the biggest mistakes that we make in changing the way we are eating. We put out a goal out there that is overwhelming. It is not conducive to achieving it. We can get distracted. If we have a bad day and you are looking so far down the line at what your goal is, it is much more likely for you to sabotage your entire process and break that progress. So start small. Maybe you just want to put a goal of 1 pound a week. That's very reasonable. Okay, that's where I would start and then build on that. So little changes also mean mental wellness, and I don't want to finish this talk tonight without talking about just how vitally important it is to take care of your mental well-being. By starting your day with 5 to 10 minutes of focused breathing, you can do it through a guided meditation or breathing exercise on your phone. Some smart watches have that technique to them where you just focus. You could just do it yourself too by counting in slowly to 5 as you inhale and exhaling by a count of 5 as well. And just set a timer and see if you can do that even for 60 seconds in a continued fashion. I'm not asking you to give up your entire morning routine, but in settling yourself and centering yourself first thing in the morning and even periodically through the day will help you manage stress, manage everything that you're juggling, and have a better outlook. And it will in turn turn around and have a healthier heart because of it. Because stress actually interferes with our healthy heart rhythms. And by focusing on some regular calming breathing patterns helps to put our heart, after we've had especially a stressful situation, back into a calm and what we call coherent state, which is very important. Walking or exercising for 30 to 45 minutes a day, some people say, I don't have that time to give. Well, if you break it up into 10 to 15 minute segments over the course of the day, maybe your perspective about that would change. Maybe if you set a break every hour a reminder again on your watch or your phone to just stand up and maybe walk around. Maybe you can get in those steps. Maybe you can do that time just walking, changing your scenery. This also works very well if you find you're a snacker. With all of us working at home so much more, we get bored with the environment. We get bored with the engagement virtually. And instead of going immediately to go get a snack as an activity to fill that time, take some steps, walk around, stand in place and do some steps, some marching steps. Or that's another opportunity to go and hydrate and get some water. Journaling your thoughts can be very beneficial. And so that's something to consider, perhaps at night, for example. And that leads me into my second to last point with the sleep hygiene. I don't know how many of you have heard those terms before, but sleep hygiene is kind of like personal hygiene, but for your sleep cycle. And what I am asking you all to do is 30 minutes before you turn out the lights, I would like you to make sure that your phone is off, your computer is off, and your TV is off. The blue light stimulation from those doesn't let our brain relax in a very timely manner when it's time for us to lay down. And I don't know how many of you have laid down habitually and you have this experience that your mind won't shut off. These are habits with sleep hygiene, whether you're reading a book, you're listening to a guided meditation, you can even listen to a book on tape if you're not big on reading it yourself. But these are all things that help you to disengage and disconnect from your day and all the things that keep your brain stressed and focused on work and children and bills and duties and things like that to allow you to be more in a state of relaxation when it's time to go to bed. And lastly, I want to make sure that you ask for help if you need help. There are not enough individuals that raise their hand and say, you know what, I don't think I'm coping with this well. Whether you're talking with a friend, a family member, or you find a professional that you can reach out to. It is of vital importance, not just for you, but the loved ones that you care for, that you take care of yourself. So consider all the noise like is in that image down on the bottom left. And if you try working through some of these de-stressing techniques, you could be as happy as this frog on the lily pad, relaxing every night, or finding time during the day to disconnect and rest as well. So in summary, do not forget to breathe. Recognize the habits that you would like to change. And remember, just make one change at a time. That's worth a start right there. Eat through the rainbow and be mindful of what you eat. Appreciate the flavor, the color, the texture, the time, the health benefits, and also who you're sharing the meal with. And ultimately, make sure that you are kind to yourself. I thank you so much for listening to me and allowing me to present this information today. And if anybody would like to contact me, this is my email address. Feel free to reach out anytime, and I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elaine. That was very useful, very educational. I will really appreciate it. We don't have time for a lot of questions, but we do have I think we have 3 here. And these are, we know that we need to be hydrated, and people talk about it all the time. How many glasses of water do we really need to drink every day?
So in the big picture of things, I could get technical, and it depends on your height, it depends on your weight. But as a rule of thumb, if you could drink between 6 and 8 servings of 8 ounces of water, so 8 8-ounce glasses, and I need to repeat, is water. It's not the same hydration if you're drinking the Mountain Dew or the sweet tea or the sodas or the coffee. I'm talking about straight hydration with water.
Very good, thank you. And you also talked about the length of time that we need to prepare to eat a meal. What is the ideal time? I know we are in such a hurry all the time, and we try to eat very fast, which you said that is not healthy. So, but how long is the ideal time that we can spend having our lunch?
That's an excellent question. So our body actually does not start to realize that it is full until we've been eating for 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes for the food to get to our, really down to our stomach and start providing those hormones that trigger the sensation that we are getting full. So I would say you need to take time and at least allow yourself 20 minutes to eat your meal, not 5, not 10. That's also when you forget that you ate, an hour or so later.
That's right. At least 20 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. The third question is this: is it healthy to cook on Saturdays for the entire week and freeze some of those meals?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you are, for example, trying to be more mindful of portions and you find a recipe you like let's say everybody in this seminar right now is going to commit to making some grilled chicken breasts that you can then cut up. Or maybe you're making the whole chicken, for example, if you like to roast a chicken in the oven. You can cut that into portions. You can shred or chop up the chicken that you're going to prepare for some of the recipes that you've planned out already. And then you can always bag and freeze, wrap and freeze the remaining portions. You can do that with hamburger patties and turkey burgers and black bean burgers. And then make sure though that you label it. It's important. I don't know if anybody else and pictured here has ever experienced a mystery item in their freezer or refrigerator before and not knowing how many years it's been there and maybe even what the food item is. So it's a great idea to try and label, even if you've got some of those Ziploc containers where you could write a Sharpie on it, or a dry erase marker. So it's good to label, but it's an excellent idea to go ahead and portion some servings out so that if you're in a pinch and you didn't have time to cook, you could also always thaw and reheat.
Excellent. Well, Elaine, thank you so much for sharing your talent and your time with us. We really appreciate it. And we are going to put your all the knowledge, some of the knowledge that we learned this evening from you, even tomorrow. Definitely, I will. I will take a little bit more time to eat my lunch and my dinner. Thank you so much, Elaine.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, let's continue with our program. And now our next workshop is going to be presented by Kathleen Evans. She is the Regional Director of External Affairs at AT&T. And the presentation is called Building an Equitable Digital Future. Go ahead, Kathleen.
And thank you, Hilda. Elaine, that was a terrific program, and I know you've inspired both Hilda and I to make one small change tomorrow. And I've been working hard on drinking my water during the call. Well, I am excited. Let me share the screen, my screen. As you can see, the title slide, Building an Equitable Digital Future. And I want to wish everyone tonight a good evening. I'm excited to be with you, and I appreciate your continuing time and attention, and my sincerest gratitude to Hilda and her talented team for including AT&T in this evening's program. And it's my honor to be included in this esteemed group of speakers for today's or tonight's LatinaCon. Tonight, well, you see the title of my remarks is Building an Equitable Digital Future, a topic on many people's minds. And so tonight I'll review the work specifically AT&T is doing to build a digitally equitable and inclusive future for all North Carolinians. And I'll cover the company's most recent investments, our efforts to help close the homework gap that so many of you are familiar with, and a brand new communications network designed for first responders to make our communities safer. I'm going to flip the slide. There you can see helping people connect what AT&T is doing. And the answer to that is AT&T is bringing robust, fast broadband connectivity to more Americans through low-cost broadband offers. Participation in a brand new program called the Emergency Benefit, Broadband Benefit, the EBB. You've heard about it, and community investment. And so I hope you're already familiar with the AT&T low-cost broadband program called Access from AT&T. I have worked hand in hand with La Noticia over 4 years to spread the news about this opportunity, because participants in the program receive internet service at up to 10 meg. I've seen it up to 25 megabit per second for no more than $10 if at least one person in the household, aunt, uncle, son, grandparent, is a SNAP participant. And during COVID, and some of these extensions continue, AT&T expanded our eligibility in this program in response to the public health crisis. So households participating in the school lunch program or Head Start, or have an income level 135% or less of the federal poverty standards, also qualify for this program called Access from AT&T. And know that there are a lot of providers that offer low-cost, similar low-cost services. Say you can't get AT&T, well then maybe you can get Charter Spectrum. You know, so all of us are working to provide more opportunity to engage digitally than ever before. AT&T, we're also helping make broadband more affordable to millions of American households by providing what I mentioned earlier, or participating in the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, or EBB. Now, note that this is a temporary federal program designed to help those most financially impacted by the pandemic. So it provides a temporary, say, 6-month or so benefit on home internet or wireless service for eligible households, decreasing your bill by up to $50 per month or up to $75 off your bill if you reside on qualifying tribal lands. Now, so what this means is that benefit could take the monthly cost of broadband to maybe zero in some cases during the time this benefit is available. So consider that. And last but not least, AT&T continues to offer discounted wireless solutions to more than 135,000 public and private K-12 schools, colleges, and universities to help keep students and teachers connected and to assist in transforming education, which was forced online, but in some way will continue online as schools reopen. And we all know they did, but when they come back later on this summer. Also, as part of a $2 billion 3-year company-wide commitment to close the digital divide, we developed a connected learning program to help make learning online fun, and again, narrow that homework gap and create compelling content. So over the next several years, and we have a very close, AT&T has a very close relationship with Warner Media. That includes HBO, TNT, TBS, and a bunch of networks. So we're going to leverage that relationship to make more content available for viewing online, because what we've learned is, and the point of LatinaCon here, is to make learning fun. Good. And goodness knows the pandemic scrambled everyone's plans. Yet AT&T continues to be committed to reliability, resiliency, and outstanding service. So that the numbers of companies and individuals that pivoted to a work at home model almost literally overnight presented a technical challenge unlike no other. But we rose to the occasion, and our networks performed admirably during the pandemic, despite the increased data usage, which was typically around 20% more data flowed over our networks than pre-pandemic usage. And that's no accident. Our performance is no accident, because we have a very good relationship with the governments and the communities where we live that allow us to build the infrastructure, to put up the poles, the wires, bury the fiber that we need to connect everyone. So as always, I definitely need to shout out to those policymakers who make our job easier helping you. And because of that, because we've been able to build those networks between 2018 and 2020, AT&T invested $375 million in the Charlotte region alone. And overall, in the state of North Carolina, including Raleigh and the Triangle, that number is $1.8 billion in the last 3 years for the entire state to improve the connectivity in our wireline and wireless networks. America's public safety network. So let me say just a little bit about this really important network. I mean, we're all touched by Tropical Storm Hurricane Elsa blowing through North Carolina. Thank goodness it wasn't as the damage was. I know there are people with their power out, but it could have been, we have short memories of previous bad storms, and this wasn't one, thank God. So, and public safety, our public first responders are always in harm's way. So we want to give them the best tools they can possibly have to help in emergency. So just a few years ago, the FirstNet Authority, which is an independent body within the US Department of Commerce, awarded AT&T a 25-year contract to build America's public safety network, right? And as the slide says, it says FirstNet is the only nationwide high-speed broadband communications platform dedicated to and purpose-built for America's first responders and the extended public safety community. And what in essence is what's happening is we're seeing more and more first responders, whether it's in healthcare like Atrium or not, use cell phones maybe instead of radios, just to to push to talk. First providers have a whole app universe of their own and communicate by cell phone. So this FirstNet network is a cellular broadband network that provides specific benefits to first responders. And I can show you those. Here they are. They're always on. This network always on, 24/7 priority and preemption. The core of this FirstNet network is different from the commercial, the usual core that our typical cell phones use. So the traffic goes different places. And when first responders say there is a terrible hurricane, and public safety agencies from multiple counties, instead of just wait, the whole triangle area responds. Public safety will take that bandwidth that you and I typically use, and we will reallocate that for first responders who are first on the scene, first to get us our power, first to get us our connectivity, first to get us to the hospital. And that's exactly what we want to happen, is give those tools, give those people the opportunity to respond quickly. And please know that AT&T now, in the first few years that we've offered this specific network, AT&T has over 2 million users and 16,000 agencies on that network, and it's growing very rapidly. So to wrap it up for you, and there's an overview of FirstNet. Gosh, so this opportunity, I have an opportunity to give a shout out to LatinaCon for 24 years in business. That's tremendous. Now, AT&T has a 143-year history of innovation. And it's a story of people from all walks of life and backgrounds coming together to connect customers with their loved ones, their work, and their world. Our culture is diverse and inclusive and welcomes all point of view and helps to make us just who we are. Pardon. A great place to work. I've been here 18 years, a desired business partner and a committed member of the communities we serve. Our strong, diverse workforce reflects the diversity of our customers and our vendors. Like LatinaCon, our employees are dedicated to service and the community. In fact, over the past 5 years, AT&T and the company's foundation and employees have contributed more than $162 million to organizations and projects that strengthen the Latino community and ensure the STEM skills are required for future technology are taught today. So we are making a difference in this space and people notice. Now, recently, for the 19th consecutive year, Diversity Inc. named AT&T one of the top 50 companies for diversity. 2 years ago, AT&T was #1 on that list. So I think that speaks for itself. And that's a wrap. That's all I have to say to you tonight, other than I appreciate your time and appreciate you being here. Thank you. So back to you.
Thank you. This is very important information, Kathleen. Thank you very much for sharing it with us, and that we appreciate what AT&T is doing for Public Safety Network and for helping us with Digital Divide. Thank you very much.
So welcome.
Okay, let's continue with our program. The next seminar that we are going to enjoy is how to shift your mindset to skyrocket your results with Diana Pagano. She is an inspirational speaker, author, founder of the Make Things Happen movement. Go ahead, Diana, take it away.
Thank you, Hilda. It is a pleasure. Buenas noches, LatinaCon attendees. I hope everyone's having a great night. Some really great information from Kathleen and Elaine. Definitely have my water all the time. I can't stress enough. That was amazing when I heard her talk about water intake. So important. Thank you to La Noticia, all the members there, and Hilda for, looking for me to, or seeking my services to speak today as a guest speaker. It is really a pleasure for me to be here today. And I've been looking about what La Noticia stands for, and as long as you guys have been in business and doing this event for 7 years. So it really is a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me your time tonight. I'm going to share my screen now. And as Hilda said, how to shift your mindset to skyrocket your result. It's one of those things that people often think, you got to be positive to get positive results. You got to be positive. It's more than just be positive on the outside of it, right? We're going to go deeper today to really talk about the results that you want to achieve. Doesn't matter how big or how small your dreams or your goals are, whether you're in school, whether you're looking for that next career move, whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish in life, whatever you're manifesting in your life today is all based on the mindset that you're holding, right? It's not something that you can ever stop attaining. We have a mindset that carries you throughout your entire life. And there's beliefs that you've had potentially since you were a kid that is showing up in your life today. So we're going to get into that. I'll go to the next slide here and just talks a little bit about just introduction about myself. What is mindset? We're going to go over fixed versus a growth mindset. This is huge. There are people you are doing this now, myself included. We're walking in life. Things happen to us, challenges, opportunities that really bottom line, it all boils down to what mindset you have. And every single one of us at times will have a fixed mindset. Other times we'll embark into our growth mindset potential. So we're always living in both. And I'm going to get into that. And the next one here, as you can see on the slide, embracing challenges. How are you embracing challenges when they happen? Guys, challenges happens to us no matter what you do. You can't get away from the challenges that's happening in our lives. Just like the pandemic, coronavirus, the things that have happened are real. The external stuff that's happening in our lives that have happened to you potentially, you can't control, but you can control how you choose to show up to those, which will at the end of the day really result in the outcome that you're going to get with whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. And then I want to leave you with, how are you going to activate a new mindset that's going to work for you versus against you? Tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Diana Pagano. I am currently the VP of Sales and People Operations in a family business with my husband. I've been working at his company for 6 years. I'm also a speaker, as Hilda mentioned earlier. I'm an author as well, and I do multiple events. I have been completely obsessed with the human psychology and everything that's showing up in my life personally and the things that I've gone through and my experiences. Once upon a time, I was a single mother at 25 years old. Having success followed when I pursued real estate. I've also had failures. And because of my own journey, because of my own experience, I became so obsessed. Why is it that sometimes I'm successful and the next minute I'm not? And why is it that other people I've seen successful with the same circumstances, they've been dealt the same hand, but yet they rise above it and they become a success, versus the other person that choose to just self-sabotage and crumble? And so I became so obsessed with this. And this is where my slogan came from: make things happen. It's not something about, well, make things happen, Diana. Like, I didn't invent the word make things happen, but my thing goes deeper than just make things happen. We're all making things happen in our lives, but how we're making things happen is what's going to manifest. It's going to, the game changer is how you're making things happen, right? It's not Diana Pagano tells you that this is how you have to make things happen. It all depends on what you're looking to achieve. We're all, like I said, we're all making things happen in our business and our personal lives, but it does matter, right? Does even Elaine alluded to earlier about your diet and what you're eating. We're all making things happen. We're going, but how can you get the most momentum to truly skyrocket. And I mean this, skyrocket the results that you're after. I have coached a lot of people along the way. I have taught many classes. I've seen results myself. So everything I talk about is things that I've seen, I put to the test, even some things I'll get into that there's research that has been, that there's been done to support the things that you do have control over. So I'll get right into it. What is mindset? You know, a lot of people think that mindset is something that you just cultivate 1 minute to the next. Yes, there is a lot of things with mindset. And if you look at the English dictionary, it'll tell you that, you know, it's basically a set of added beliefs that you've cultivated throughout your life that truly governs what your mindset is. As it says here, a certain set of beliefs that you've cultivated throughout your life. And you think, you might say, you know, what beliefs, like this is, you know, I might have carried this throughout my entire life, thinking, you might be thinking that you're not good enough at something because somebody told you. Oftentimes, and I've studied people and I've coached people, you know, one-on-ones, I've had the privilege to see a lot of breakdowns, breakthrough moments where somebody at 12 years old was told that he wasn't an athlete. So he went throughout his entire life thinking that he wasn't an athlete. So he never tried out for football. He never tried out for basketball because somebody sometime in his life told him that, but he aspired to be a tennis player. And so it wasn't until he was 25 years old that he said, you know, I want to learn. And if you think about anything that you're looking to achieve, if you maybe think about what are some of the things that maybe you've wanted to go after, but there's some sort of belief that you've believed along the way that has allowed you basically to play it safe. I'm not ready for that. I'm not good enough for that yet, right? There's all these things that are happening, whether you were 10 years old, whether you're 25, whether you're 55, we continue to cultivate all this, right? When coronavirus happened, we were like, oh my gosh, you know, we can't leave our houses. We got to stay in the basement. We're cultivating the beliefs based on other people. Sometimes it's social media, it's the news, right? And I'm not saying the news is wrong. Like I watch the news, but you got to pay attention to the things around you in your environment. That's really going to determine, right? What are the things that you're honing in on? What are some of the things going inside your mind to really develop the beliefs that you're cultivating right now? And we're going to get into a little bit more of that as well. Let me go to the next slide.
Jana, just can you slow down a little bit just for the interpreters to translate?
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when you think about this, why does mindset matter? And again, it really determines the kind of life that you're going to lead. When you think about other people that, you know, have the same circumstances, you may have the same aspirations and the same ingredients, right? Like the way that we were born, each and every single one of you has the same ingredient that I believe our Creator has given us to achieve anything that's possible. Anything that you could imagine is possible. And when your mindset, you have a mindset of limitation. We have these thoughts in our minds that are happening every single day. You can't get away from it. You could be in the shower and you're like, what if they tell me no? You could be driving and you can say, what if I'm going to be late to that appointment, late to that interview? Your mindset is truly the driver. Is that what is your mindset right now? When you have doubt, when you have the self-defeating thoughts of limitation, I say, you know, I often tell the people when they're, you know, upset or they have doubt, I'm always like, okay, tell me what you're thinking about. If you tell me what you're thinking, I can probably tell you how you're going to feel, right? And what's the next move that you're going to make according to your mindset. It really is basically the driver of everything that's showing up in your life. So here's a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And as I mentioned before, when you see an opportunity and you say, okay, I'm not ready for that, or what if they tell me no, or you know what, my friend, my neighbor, my brother went for that opportunity and he was told no, or he tried to do this adventure, but he didn't succeed. So I must not be good enough, right? That's a fixed mindset. You have another person that has the same, you know, same ingredients to success, maybe didn't go to school, but they have an opportunity and they say, you know what, I may not have everything, but I can learn. I can learn the skill. I can adapt myself. I can grow, right? That's a growth mindset. You're coming from a place of possibilities. You're not coming from a place of limitations. You're saying, hey, if that person did it, I can too. And if you think about it, most people have had, right, nothing that anyone's ever done, not Albert Einstein, not Oprah, anybody that you can possibly think of that has reached levels of success that you admire, has ever reached that success, right, without some sort of challenges along the way. And there's always going to be things that might happen in your life that you can't always control. But again, you can choose that if one door closes, another one's going to open. I'm going to keep going because life is too short, you guys. If you're feeling that your heart is calling you for something, that's your passion. And for you to snooze your passion, right? You get one life to live. And it's about living to your full potential and not be mediocre. Who am I to tell you to go big in maybe your business or go big in the education you want for yourself or that career that you dream of? But if you're longing for that, if you have an obsession and this passion that you say, man, I would love to have that, this would be a dream, right? When is the time to really make a decision and say, I'm going to go for that, and not listen to the self-limiting beliefs that are crowding you, really self-sabotaging you at the end of the day? This is kind of interesting when you think about research that I've even done on mindset. You know, oftentimes people think, you know, I gotta know all the things. I gotta be smarter. I gotta, you know, of course, school is very important, and getting an education in whatever field that you're looking to be in is important. But did you know, guys, 80% of the success, right? Whatever success you're after, what's due to that, right? What is the result of your success? 80% of the results of your success is based on your mindset. The 20% is all the skills. Of course, you need both, right? You need both to make it happen. It's almost like you're going to take a road trip from San Diego to New York. I say San Diego because I'm from San Diego. You're going on a road trip and you're like, okay, I need gas, I need money, I need to make sure that I could stop maybe at a hotel for a night and then keep driving my journey, right? And that's the 20%. You got to make sure the map, how are you going to get there? I mean, back in the days, I know maybe we have some young people in the crowd, but back when I was driving, we needed to like have a map. I don't know if anyone remembers MapQuest. You had to print the map. So my point is when you're driving from San Diego to California, going on this journey, you need a map, you need money. You need to make sure, right, for your journey, for fuel, for tires and oils. That's all the skill. That's all the whole how-tos. Here, the 20% here, that's the 20%. Of course you need that. But 80% is going to ride on your mindset. Do you believe that you can make it happen? Do you have a growth mindset? Are you thinking this journey to California? Oops, I apologize. Is this journey to California, to New York, from San Diego to New York, are you thinking in your mind all the things you're going to do when you get there? Are you imagining your life, whatever, if you're going there to move there, you're just going for a week trip, right? All of that is based on your mindset. And you might think, Diana, that sounds really crazy. Are you telling me that I can just imagine myself in New York and that I can just be positive and that the rest is going to follow? Yes. You have nothing to lose. Listen, I have been doing this for a long time. I have had people that I've coached personally that have said to me, you're crazy. I don't know who you think you are, but I've had a bad experience. My husband left me. He left me with nothing. My job, I got fired. I'm pretty much homeless, literally. And when you make that shift, it's magical when you start allowing, right? Because you're so busy focused on all the reasons that poor me, right? You become a victim of your own situation. And I'm not saying that maybe things aren't tough for you. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you've applied to like 25 places. These are real things. Maybe you're losing your home. Maybe you've lost your home. Maybe your health hasn't been the most, right? You don't feel as healthy as you used to be. All those things are real. But we're self-sabotaging because we can focus, right? We can focus on all the reasons our life is horrible. All the reasons that no one's being fair to me. I've done everything, poor me. You can do that. And guess what? It won't get you anywhere, but you're going to stay in the storm. But when you're open, literally, when you're open to receive that opportunity, you keep going, you plant your seeds. I often tell my audience, like, you have to plant your seeds like that farmer. I don't have any rain. I continue to plant seeds, but if I don't have rain, I won't have crop. And it's that person that just keeps going and says, you know what? I'm going to get that rain. I'm going to get that's going to come. And you just have to have this mindset that when it rains, no, it doesn't matter. Even the recession, whatever's down always comes back up. You're not going to stay down. You know when you're going to stay down? If you let yourself stay down. It's you that decides right now, make a decision and say, I'm going to stand above it. I'm going to stand and I'm going to rise above it because I know that I'm worth it. And I know that I can make them, I didn't mean to say make things happen. That is my slogan, but that I know that I can make things happen. Just like the next guy and the next girl that was in my same situation. And one of those things that I've studied and I've interviewed many people myself and even in my own journey. And I got so deep into the psychology of the way that you think, right? If I ask you, what did you have for dinner last night? You're going to have an image of yourself. Maybe like Elaine was showing, someone's having food at the drive-thru. Maybe you were driving and you just were tired. You didn't have a chance to make dinner, but you're eating in your car. Maybe you're eating at the dinner table, but you do have an image of what you were doing at that time, right? No different from the things that you're fearful of, whatever it is that you're doubting. You have these images of what that looks like. And one of the things I found fascinating is that it's really boils down, you guys, is that when you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you're going to crumble. And I'm not saying that things aren't tough. When the going gets tough, that's when you got to hold on even tighter, like that roller coaster, and say, man, this is a scary ride, but it's going to be over, because I know that by the end of this roller coaster ride, I'm going to be okay. And you got to see yourself you got to see the light at the end of that tunnel. And I've often seen, gosh, when I haven't seen the light at the end of the tunnel, that's when I crumbled. That's when I was self-sabotaging. Because everything that if you can't you can't experience anything that you haven't accepted it to be so. Hard for people to swallow. Because they're like, well, I didn't attract this abusive relationship. I was in an abusive marriage as a very young mom at 18 years old. And I was really hard when I started to learn about all this. I'm like, gosh, how did I attract this? How did I? And it's not that you deserve it. It's just that everything in our minds is really governing everything. I'm going to get into some things next here, but before I do want to say one thing. There's a part of our brain, and you can Google this, this is real. There's a part of your brain that lives inside your brain. It's called the reticular activating system, RAS to abbreviate it, reticular activating system. The way that this works, they're like antennas, right? Antennas. And they're saying anything that Diana, for example, for me, anything that you, or Diana, that you are focusing on and that you're calling to existence, that you have a wish and you want something, you got to say what you want. Let me tell you something. It's so important that you are unapologetic for the things that you desire and that you are not shameful to ask for what you want, whether it's a raise, whether you're negotiating your salary. I've been there myself. Whatever to ask for help. Another thing I'm going to quote Elaine is she said, don't do it all yourself. Ask for help. You're going to get what you ask for. It's like that saying, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive, right? And oftentimes we get so self-sabotaged that we're just thinking that we're doing this alone and we're doing all of this. And in reality, there is help out there. We can do something. And when you ask, you're going to receive. The reticular activating system, as I was mentioning, is basically that. It's saying anything that you're focusing on, I have to bring to you. And it's funny, I'm going to tell you a story about my 25-year-old son. Yes, I have a 25-year-old. And he told me, Mom, I met a girl and I'm not ready. He used to always tell me, I'm not ready for a girl. I'm not ready to settle down. And I'm a single guy. I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want a relationship. And I said, okay. But then later he would start telling me about a girl that was playing games with him. Didn't take him seriously in playing games. I said, do you understand that you've always said you've been feeding the reticular activating system, which are antennas, and you've been saying how you're fine being single, you don't have time for a relationship, and all of a sudden you're attracting exactly what you're saying you don't want, because that's what you're focusing on. And your reticular activating system only knows to bring you things that you're aligned with, that you're in alignment with, right? And it's funny, if you think about it, if you think you're in a nightclub, you know what a nightclub is, right? There's a bouncer and girls want to come in. They look at the ID and she says, oh, you're a girl that wants to settle down. Nope, you can't come in. That's your reticular activating system working. So it's going to bring to you in your life the things that you're aligning with, the things that you're calling that you want. And it might seem a little bit, you know, cheesy to bring this as an example, but it's very true because of the reticular activating system. I made a metaphor that it's like a nightclub. It only allows in the thing. So no wonder my son was getting girls that he would meet that didn't want to settle down, that were not taking, right? All the things that he didn't want. And this is a prime example of what I was saying before. Mindset has consequences. So if you think about positive versus a negative, right? This has been research actually that shows, you know, when you bring optimism to the table, when you decide and you choose to be positive, you can increase your lifespan, right? And well-being. And being negative has been shown, many research, even Harvard research that I saw, that it decreases your lifespan. When you think positive, it brings these balances in your like these micro, it just talks about like these different things that creates, you know, in your brain, these things that are just like chocolate, it creates this ability to like be able to feel happier. It's like, it's absolutely insane, but it's not, because that's what it is. When you're positive, you can even decrease stress and anxiety, as you can see here, even depression. So when you think all the negative things, that is going to make you more stressful. It's going to create more anxiety because of your thoughts that you're having. So you're not saying that you're not going to have negative thoughts, that you're not going to have certain things that might show up in your life, of course. But what matters is that you can't stay there. As soon as you have a negative thought, you have to say, okay, well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Because this is not going to serve you, right? When you're having these negative thoughts, it's only going to create anxiety and depression. And it's like, just like it says here, sorry, I'm looking at my other stuff. Even just chronic illness that it's been shown when you're negative is just going to create a stressful environment. And it's all on the perspective, right? Even just a shift in your perspective goes a long way. Don't underestimate that. So my question to you is, are you where you want to be? Are you who you want to be? And you might think, what do you mean who I want to be? Who do you want to become? It's not about having to be perfect. It's about choosing today that you choose to be better than you were yesterday, that you choose to be a little more successful today than you were yesterday, and even tomorrow. Are you living life wondering, like, what if I went for that job? What if, right? Sometimes we've been turning down opportunities that are calling your name because you feel, or you say, I'm not ready yet for this, or I'm not good enough for this yet, or putting something off that you know fills up your heart and soul because of all the other thoughts in your head, right? And this is just a reflection for you. Your beliefs is going to determine if you're in a fixed mindset or in a growth mindset, as we mentioned before. The question is your mindset holding you back or pushing you forward? Because it's going to do one or the other. Either your mindset based on what you believe, based on what it is that you're feeding your mind, the things around you, being very conscious of what's entering your mind, what your environment is, that matters. Let's find out. So one of the things that I find really just the great example is how we can really have the ability to change the channel, just like a TV remote. If you're saying I'm not creative, every time I apply myself, I get more creative, right? Here's the alternative. Here's the alternative. A fixed mindset is to the left, a growth mindset is to the right. And maybe you're going to see yourself on one of these examples, or maybe you've heard a friend or a family member saying some of these things and holding themselves back. When people have said, I'm not creative, I'm not whatever, I'm always, the first thing I say is, when did you decide that you're not blank, that you're not creative? When did you decide that you're not confident? We decide. You either have it or you don't. Some people say, oh, you either I'm just not a salesperson. I just either have it or you don't. Or are you coming from a growth mindset and said, anyone can be great. If I apply myself and I learn, I could be great too. I will never be on that level. How many times have you seen an opportunity and you're like, wow, she's got so much experience. She has all the credentials. I can never be on that level. Do you think she or he started where you're at today? You're seeing all the beautiful experience, all the success, all the whatever level he or she is on. You didn't see the sweat and the tears that it might have taken her or him. right? Or are you seeing something and saying, hey, I can learn and grow in any area where I am challenged. Maybe I don't feel confident yet, but I'm going to learn. And when I do, I'm planting my seeds and I'm going to feel more confident, right? And I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow. That's going to boost your confidence big time. How many times we say, see, I told you you couldn't do it. And sometimes it's internal. You guys, you have an inner dialogue happening all the time. All the time you're talking to yourself in your head, right? I mean, you might say, well, I don't really talk to myself. Pay attention, you do. There's thoughts that you're having all the time. As I mentioned before, sometimes you're in the shower, you could be driving, you could be cooking, and then you tried something, it didn't work out, and it's your inner dialogue. Sometimes it's a voice, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's somebody that you've known, maybe it's a teacher that you've known, maybe it's your own voice. See, I told you you couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And what is that going to do? It's going to allow you to crumble, and you're never going to try again because you didn't make it happen the first time or the second time. So now you're like, I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to avoid the disappointment. Or are you going to say, hey, you know what? Most people that are successful had challenges along the way. And guess what? They chose to keep pushing ahead. What if I fail? How many times have you maybe had this thought? I know I have many times in my life. I've had this thought. What if I don't do it? What if they tell me no? What if I get rejected? What if I fail? That's a fixed mindset. It's going to hold you back. What if you fail? To me, failure in my life has never been failure because I've always learned something. And even if it's just a small thing that maybe, okay, I learned a small thing that I can apply. And sometimes it's led me to a whole nother direction that I otherwise wouldn't have had I not had this rejection. But when you come and say the questions, right? The questions that you ask yourself, it is probably the most important thing is the language you speak with yourself. Because if you just said, you know what if I succeed? All of a sudden you're giving yourself so much of that alignment. Your reticular activating system is listening to you and saying, wait, what if I succeed in XYZ? If I succeed in that job interview, if I get accepted at this college, you're in alignment because you're thinking of possibilities. You're not saying, what if they tell me no? What if I don't make it? Because all of that, it's energy. It's quantum physics. Look it up too. Quantum physics is real. We can't get away from it. It lives in us. Are you sure you can do it? I'm doubting, right? Doubtful. Or do you say, hey, I don't know it all. I may not have it all figured out, but I will figure it out and not live in regret. Guys, you get one life and one day you'll be 95 years old. Are you going to look back at all the things that you were so worried about what other people thought of you and live in regret? Regret is real. And I'm sorry, but I know that I hung that on the shelf a long time ago and I said, no more. I'm going to stop worrying what other people think of me because I don't want to be 95 living with regret. I want to say, you know what? I did the things that I felt called to do. I did that thing because it scared me. If it doesn't scare you or make you a little nervous, then your goal is not big enough, right? And oftentimes we think that when we do something, that everything's going to come easy and because that's not how life works. If you know right now, before you embark in your whatever goal you want to make happen, if you just know right now and decide up front that you're going to be successful, because no matter what happens, you're going to keep going. And if you know up front, hey, sometimes I might feel a little bit doubtful. I might question my journey. I might say, do I really want to keep going? I keep getting no's, but do I really want to do this to myself? That's normal. No one that has reached high levels of success, small or big, has ever gone through the entire journey without a little bit of doubt. And when you know up front that might happen, and you decide up front that you are going to keep going, you're going to keep going because you know that there's light at the end of that tunnel. Maybe you don't have what it takes. The list goes on, you guys. These are just some examples. I may not have it all figured out, but I will ask for help. Still not sure? Let's dig a little deeper. Are you facing challenges head on? So people let things happen to them, and here's people that make things happen. The greatest strength is gained through struggle, right? It is. That's how you gain the resilience. Can you imagine if everything you went for in life, everything you went for, you were successful? You got a yes, you got an A on that test, you got accepted to all the universities you applied for, you got every job you ever interviewed for, right? Can you imagine who would you be right now? It's molding you. Your journeys are molding you to where you're supposed to be. Who could you empower later based on what you went through? And these are just people, the difference between fixed mindset and how they face challenges, being powerless as a victim, limiting their own potential. Why me? Self-sabotaging. I will never get this right. Allowing the past, really, that will affect your self-esteem, right? It is. Your self-esteem is probably the single-handedly most important thing you have to protect. Because without confidence, if you have a low self-esteem, you're going to go little places in life. That's just the truth. And it's okay if you are feeling that you have low self-esteem. What matters is today. What matters is tomorrow, that you can say, you know what, I'm going to be more confident today than I was yesterday, even just a little bit. And you work at it, right? You got to water that plant. You got to invest in yourself and your mental health. Making excuses just to avoid disappointment. We've all been there. Not believing in change. And here's people with a growth mindset. Obviously believing in themselves. All the stuff, when one door closes, another one open. Learn from failure. Every setback is just a lesson to learn and to grow. Value yourself. Value yourself. You are perfect even with your imperfections. What matters is how you choose. Again, today is a new day. Forget about what you didn't do yesterday. Forget about all the things that you did wrong potentially and the decisions that maybe didn't serve you. You got to let that go. You can't move forward by looking at your rear view mirror. You're going to crash. It's time to look forward and to forgive the past and accept that that's what it is. But today's a new day. God gave you breath in your lungs. Today's a new day for you to go again, right? And let me tell you, when I tell you to ask for what you want, you know, the most important person for me, that doesn't matter what religion you come from, if you believe in a higher self like I do, the man upstairs wants to know the desires of your heart. And you got to be so unapologetic for the things that you want and the things that you value. When you understand the difference between both mindset, it opens up your mind. It opens up your mind and you say, gosh, I've been such a negative Nancy, or my sister or my neighbor has been so negative in my mind that she or he has clouded you. It's okay. You can come up from that. I apologize. I know we're running out of time. This is what's going to determine the road that you take. Every choice you have. I know that you're going to put this on YouTube, so I might go a little fast here. And I just want you to know that you will always follow through on who you believe you are and your identity. But you know what? You can change that identity if it's not serving you. If you felt that you're not good enough at anything, or that you don't have certain skill sets, or you need to gain more confidence, you can change that. You can decide what you're going to do for that. The way you see yourself sets the standard of how others are going to treat you. Based on how you set the standard, you decide how you want to be treated. When you remove what is not serving you, I'm telling you right now, be very choosy who you hang around with. And even people that love you might want you to play it safe because they're scared, they're fearful. What sets great achievers apart? They exercise a growth mindset, like a muscle. You go to the exercise, you got to exercise your mind every single day, even if you give yourself 5 minutes. I'm telling you, you don't have to spend hours on end. Elaine mentioned meditation. I'm huge with that. But even if you can do 5 minutes of yourself to really feed the things that you want and start to see what that looks like. What do you want out of your life? What do you want to achieve in the next 90 days, in the next 6 months? You got to see it first. If you don't have a target for your reticular activating system, it won't get you there. You won't get there ever. Your mind is your most powerful asset. and you can change your circumstance regardless of what happened and how you got there. Endless possibilities is really what will await you. Which mindset do you have? The question you might be asking, how do I cultivate a growth mindset? How can you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Again, sometimes you have a fixed mindset and it's not affecting you. Then bravo, don't change that. Only reflect on the things that are holding you back. And if you have to change that, reflect really good about that. Where in life do you exhibit fixed mindset? Recognize that you are in control and that you can make a new choice. Create that vision. That is so important. If I ask many people, what does it look like? What your goal? Oh, I want to be here by the end of the year. Okay, what does that look like? They can't even tell me. If you can't even tell yourself what it looks like very compelling details. Do you want to move out of your parents' house and you're in an apartment? What does that look like? Do you have a roommate? Where is it at, right? Like, we're building images in our minds, and that's how we make it happen. Obviously, you can't just imagine like a genie and then go sit on a couch and eat a donut and expect that you're going to make this happen. Obviously not, but it's all the energy that you're putting out to create the things that you want in your life. Face challenges head on, but don't make them bigger than they actually are. Your thoughts is what is going to be a big driver of what to control. You're not going to be this positive person 24/7, 365. It just doesn't happen. But you can choose to say, when that happens, when that negative thought or that doubt starts to happen, I can choose to change the channel. I can choose to say, I'm the opposite of that. The opposite of that. I can choose to say, you know what, I'm going to seek a different route. I'm going to ask for help. Accept criticism sometimes when you get it. Learn the lessons of opportunities. I apologize.
Oh, sorry, we have 5 minutes.
No problem. I think this is just about done. So as you can see here, and I know they're going to share this, so I'm just flipping through the slides and you can go back and see all this, just examples of how to activate a new mindset, learn, realize, make a new choice. I know this is kind of a funny quote. When life gives you lemon, recognize what is happening, but don't make it bigger than it is. Focus on what you can control. And you can diminish those negative thoughts that are real, that might happen, and visualize the outcome that you want to achieve. Taking responsibility is always good. Focus on what you need to fix it. As I mentioned before, ask for help. There's always people that can support you, even family or even people you don't know. There's a lot of information on the internet. Go to Google. You want to learn how to do anything, how to be more confident, how to sell in front of customers. There's so much information out there. Staying motivated. I just put a couple of things of just being able to just be intentional every day. Be intentional every day to what it is that you want to do. I always have to set my intention that today's going to be a full day of meetings, but I know that I'm going to be very productive. I decided up front that today's going to be productive. Today's going to be whatever it is that you want it to be. So these are just empowering statements. I'll just go through these. How can I beat the odds? What actions can I do to take me there? What can I learn from this challenge? These are all empowering questions. I'm telling you, when you practice, the questions you ask yourself is probably the most important questions of all. You saw those. I'll just leave it there for a second, and then it's all being recorded. So you can make a choice to change your life. You do not have to settle. You don't have to be mediocre if you don't want to be. And if you want something bigger in your life, face challenges to be successful, change your mindset to grow and really achieve your goals. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. I love to hear for Q&A if anyone has any questions, but thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to talk about your mindset and how to make that shift.
It has been great, Diana. Thank you very much. I mean, I saw the comments in the chat. Everybody is very excited that you're teaching us or reminding us to be positive, to be confident, and to dream big. Yes, thank you very much. Anybody has a question for Diana, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask her directly. Well, thank you, Diana. Thank you very much. Sharing your talent is wonderful. Do we have somebody? Did I hear? Okay, thank you, Diana. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Okay, thank you to everyone. Thank you to all our speakers. It was really great. We learned very much from the three of you. Thank you to our sponsor. Here they are on the image in front of you. Thank you very much, this corporate citizen, for helping us with this great event. And of course, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for coming. Thank you for supporting the Excelente. We hope that you have really enjoyed our program. And let me remind you what we have ahead. We have the Excelente Awards Gala. Is going to be again this year virtual because of the coronavirus pandemic. And it's going to be on Thursday, September 16, from 6:30 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. via Zoom. And you will receive the invitation for the Excelente Awards Gala. You are on our mailing list. And of course, you can also see the information on Facebook and in lanoticia.com and in La Noticia print. And please come to that gala. This is going to be the 23rd edition of the Excelente Awards Gala. We're very proud of that event. That is a signature event in the Latino community. And we are so proud to celebrate the outstanding achievements of so many members of the Latino community, including our students who will get a scholarship to go to college. And of course, I'd like to remind you also that the third series, the third version of LatinaCon for 2021 is going to be on the first Thursday in August. That would be August the 5th. And we are going to talk, here are the speakers, Osiris Collazos, Daniela Paredes, and Tatiana Van Hemel. Tatiana and Daniela are going to talk to us about finance and how to be wealthy, what to do to be wealthy, to keep some of your money so you don't spend it all. And Osiris Collazos is going to talk to us about leadership. So we hope that you can join us there. This concludes our LatinaCon for this year. Thank you very much.